Broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Dom Salvia Show. And now, here's your host, Dom Salvia.
And welcome to the Dom Salvia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. You can also be a part anytime. Super easy. Just give us a call or a text at 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Just PS working hard on the board. Happy days. Just good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Happy Monday.
Yeah, thank you. And it's Monday, so Harvey Kaye, our favorite Delano Democrat, is going to come by today at 5 o'clock. He's a professor emeritus of democracy. Remember that thing? He used to teach that up at the University of Wisconsin at Green Bay, and he comes around on Mondays to just remind everybody of the good old days.
Back when we had that.
Lots to get to today. A lot of the local news. Trump comes out for Schimmel. Imagine that. Donald Trump, BS.
Shocking.
BS goes for BS. We know that's happening. And then some updates on the goings-on, the money spent, and the efforts in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Folks, that's coming up real quick. Then on the national level, apparently the Trump administration's Pentagon and their very highly intelligent and very aggressive, very smart and private, best people, best jobs ever, emailed battle plans or signaled battle plans in their discussions to an Atlantic reporter.
Oops.
And Trump said, I have no idea. I'm an old man. I'm confused. I mean, what if this was Biden? So we're gonna get there. Oh yeah. So and then it's a contest. We're doing this again, right? We are Civic Media, lighten it up again, folks. I know you love to engage, and please do so. It's a lot of fun when you play along. So let me break into. I got a little something to tell you here. It is our Break into Spring text to win statewide contest. Break into Spring. You know, we totally missed spring last week. I'm a big observer of the equinoxes and whatnot.
Oh, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we totally blew past it.
I know. Didn't get to sacrifice any virgins or anything.
I know.
Oh,
what are we even doing?
Slacking. That's what I'm doing.
Slacking.
It's our Break into Spring text to win statewide contest. Your daily chance to win a Chula Vista getaway. We did that last time. Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets. Oh,
That's new.
That's awesome. Or $100 in cash. Plus, every entry puts you into our grand prize drawing of a brand new queen mattress set from Verlo that includes a mattress, sheets, and more. Yeah, all right. So we got
all right.
And so we're going to kind of rotate as we do this. This is going to be a 2-week challenge. So today's word, this is for the Chula Vista overnight stay. You'd be put into the entry to win, right? The word today, you got to text it. Here's the word, trip. This hour's keyword is trip. Like Linda Tripp threw Monica Lewinsky under the bus. Trip. Like I took a trip up north to see Ma this weekend.
Yeah.
Trip. Don't eat all the mushrooms. You might trip too hard. Trip. So download the Civic Media app in the Apple or Google stores. Find your favorite station. Use the text button to send the keyword trip for your chance to win the statewide contest. Again, the word is trip. Find your favorite station on the Civic Media app. You have until the end of this hour to play along. Use the app, use the text button to send the keyword right now. Do it now. And some people are doing it. I see you out there. Thanks for playing along. Good luck, everyone. Trip. And we'll remind folks throughout the hour of the keyword of the day for the Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. All right. Let's get to it. It feels like
there's something going on.
It feels like about a month since we did a radio show. You know, and as the weekend goes by, I'll read the news in the morning, and we got our Google Sheets, and I'll just kind of put links in, and all of a sudden there's some more links and more links and more. Like, I mean, what am I even doing?
And then I open it on Monday, and go, oh boy.
Then I think, I should not even bother read the news like Saturday or Sunday.
Right,
I'll wait till
it's all gonna be different.
It's all gonna be different. But whatever I plan, like the greatest planning ever, usually doesn't come to fruition. But one that held, one that we will bring up and bring to everyone's attention, if you didn't know, the President of the United States is wading into Wisconsin's Supreme Court race to urge support for BS. Allison Durr and Daniel Bice reporting at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Trump urged Friday evening, Trump urged Wisconsinites to cast their ballots for conservative state Supreme Court candidate BS in the upcoming election. An announcement that BS quickly proclaimed represented an endorsement from the Republican president. I mean, that's everybody. That's everything you need to know. If it wasn't enough that Musk put $6 million behind this group, another $6 million behind that group, and paying everyone like $100 to sign some bunk so you can, we thought about the $100 thing that he's doing, that Musk is doing. Don't do it. There's been some debate, and I've thought about this over. Just don't do it.
No, it's your information that he's gonna have forever.
In the best case scenario, you know what I'm saying? You get $100. I mean, really? No, just don't do it.
Just don't do it, man.
Don't even. F that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't do it. The social media post marked the first time the president has weighed in on the race and will decide whether liberals or conservatives control the high court. Let's see if we have. Here we go. Calling Schimmel's opponent, Susan Crawford, that's the one you vote for, everybody. Again, consider these sources. According to Trump, she's a radical left liberal. And he said voting for BS would help uphold the rule of law, protect our incredible police. Oh, like you did when you pardoned everybody for beating the police. Secure our beloved Constitution that you said should be destroyed and you violate all the time. Safeguard our inalienable rights. Oh, really? Now you're down for those? And preserve liberty and justice for all. Do we have any Metallica? I did like that. And justice for all. Now, BS has been pining for an endorsement for several weeks. He said at a Thursday news conference that he'd been in touch with the Trump campaign in recent weeks over an endorsement. And earlier this year, Schimmel attended Trump's inauguration. Here's what BS said in a statement. I'm humbled and deeply honored to receive the endorsement of our president. The stakes in this race could not be any higher. Oh, you're right about that, BS. On April 1st, Wisconsin's conservatives must unite to restore objectivity to our Supreme.
You can't even get through it.
Come on, man. The first time I'm reading what he said, restore objectivity. Did the dude literally say he was going to, what did he say? We have a cut for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so he says we should restore objectivity, but then he also said this.
All right.
Donald Trump doesn't do this by himself. There has to be a support network around him.
Oh.
And that, they filed over 70 lawsuits against him.
Yeah.
Why?
Since he took the oath of office barely a month ago. Over 70 lawsuits to try to stop almost every single thing he's doing because they don't want him to get a win. They're so desperate for him to not get a win that they won't let America have a win. That's what they're doing. And the only way we're going to stop that is if the courts stop it.
If we're
That's
objective.
The only place to stop this lawfare. And
I will be wait. That doesn't sound objective at all.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even interpreting what's actually going on. And for a guy who's wants to be on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, certainly seems to have no problem with the executive branch overreaching, as Donald Trump has been doing with these executive orders. I mean, that's why there's 75 lawsuits, 7 of which the state of Wisconsin is involved in. We'll get to that.
And that number is higher at this point now.
Yes.
We're at, I believe, 120.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Trump, he's very busy.
Very.
He's very busy. We've not done this much ever. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I digress. That guy, Trump, has supported Brad Schimmel. We call him BS on this program. And Schimmel went on to say, you heard the cut, but this is what he said. On April 1st, Wisconsin conservatives must unite to restore objectivity to our Supreme Court and save our state like we saved our country in November. The job is not done. We cannot allow America's success to bypass Wisconsin.
No?
I wonder how that's measured exactly. BS. Crawford's campaign on Friday night labeled Schimmel a corrupt politician. Oh, excellent. Here is what the good guys had to say. Schimmel has spent his entire career on bend knee to right-wing special interests. On bent knee to right-wing special interests. Bending the knee.
Mm-hmm. So much so that he needs new knee pads.
I mean, he's bragged about it.
Yeah.
He had to go get knee pads from where?
Menards.
He has spent his entire career on bent knee to right-wing special interests. We assumed he had this endorsement locked up months ago, said Derek Hoyman. Schimmel has said he wants to be a support network. We just played that. For Trump, and that the Wisconsin Supreme Court screwed over Trump in 2020. screwed over Trump in 2020. I think that talking about Hagedorn, aren't you there, buddy?
Right, the one who went soft in the head.
Oh yeah, you can't have another Hagedorn. And this objective Schimmel, this new leaf Schimmel's going to turn over and be objective. Well, he had a lot to say about Schimmel when Schimmel was actually objective. Wisconsinites will reject Brad Schimmel once again on April 1st. I certainly hope so. So there we go. The President of the United States wading into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Now, of course, we knew this was coming. It's a very important race. If there's anything that these right-wingers are correct about, this is a very important race. So go out and vote for Susan Crawford. The money in this race, and this has become, of course, national news. The New Republic has an article on it as well. Patrick Marley over at the Washington Post. One of the few reasons to keep your Washington Post. Patrick Marley, man, he came up at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He's a good cat. Also has an article at the Washington Post entitled "Musk and Trump Ratchet Up Involvement in Wisconsin's Supreme Court Race." The court is expected to decide the future of abortion in the state and could redraw a congressional map that has given Republicans 6 of the 8 seats. That's another important thing as well. I don't think the congressional maps were ever really looked at. And my understanding from, again, going in my way back machine, and Crudy and I were looking into this, that those are also unconstitutional. I don't think you can have like one person off on congressional maps. You got to be down to the number, and they aren't, because in their rush to do their redistricting back or remapping back then, that's what we came up with. So I'd like to see that as well. Again, just want a level playing field, and if we get BS in there versus Susan Crawford, that's not going to be the case. Again, look at the company you keep. Now, if you're down, if you're one of the megas, I mean, I'm sure you're going to think Brad Schimmel's a great guy because Donald Trump endorsed him. But if you're independent, and I think a lot of folks out there are folks that maybe did not get involved, folks that are maybe like going, of the 13% of folks that did not vote, and I saw a poll recently, 13% of folks that did not vote actually approve of what Donald Trump and this administration is doing. Now, if that holds true, again, to what I didn't dig into the numbers, let's put it that way. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of headway for BS in this race, especially given how people are feeling about President Musk and President Trump these days. Hey, folks, come back with us. We got the new challenge going on. The word of the day is trip. Text it in and give us a call. 855-752-4842, 855-757.
I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist.
back to the Dom Salvia Show. Happy Monday to us all. Join us on the lines, 855-752-4842. Jess P.S. working hard on the lines and the board, spinning the hits. Judas Priest. You know, I just ordered myself a throwback British Steel Judas Priest T-shirt.
I do know that because you told me.
I had one when I was in 8th grade.
You were a tiny little baby.
I don't know what happened to it, but I don't think that one would fit me anymore. Now, I do have lots of 40-year-old T-shirts that do still fit. That one, no. I mean, it was pretty tight back then. I love the internet. Hey, folks, and you're going to love our new statewide contest, the Break Into Spring Text to Win contest. This hour's word is trip, and I see you folks tripping. You're sending trip. Text it in. Text it. So you download the Civic Media app, find your favorite station, use the text button at the bottom of the screen, and send the keyword trip for your chance to win this statewide contest. This goes on until 5 o'clock today. So, folks, I see you lining up and doing so. Thank you for playing. Now, this for the record, that's also the same line where we get messages and calls and comments on. So, we love it. Might be a little slower getting to those today, but you can always call us. Callers always take priority.
Always.
855-752-4842. So, Trump has endorsed Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate BS. We are encouraging everyone to vote for Judge Susan Crawford. And we played some recording of BS, telling the world that he's going to be a support system,
a support network,
this, yes,
nonpartisan race. this race to be on the Supreme Court, the highest court of our state,
and he's going to be objective.
He's going to be objective. He's going to be nonpartisan, and he's going to be a support network for Donald Trump.
Those things totally make sense in the same breath. Yes. Some reporting over at the Urban Milwaukee write-up of I believe it's an NPR piece. Let's see here. Wisconsin Public Radio, my bad. 2 months into Trump's second presidency. Now, we mentioned this. We heard Schimmel saying there were 75 lawsuits challenging Trump's efforts. Now, according to this reporting, there are more than 130 against the administration. 130. And, and Trump, continuing to go after everyone. All these, this law firm and that law firm and these frivolous lawsuits, this law firm. Yeah, right, dude. Well, these are the guys that literally take people and ship them away, don't send them back to their home country. They send them to another country. But again, the court case on that today. We'll
get there.
No due process or any individual, rights like that. But anyway. 130 lawsuits against the administration, and as reported, Wisco part of 7 of them, according to the DOJ. The state has joined challenges to the president's attempts to end birthright citizenship. Yes. Freeze funding through the Office of Management and Budget. Yes. Cut research funded by the National Institutes of Health. We don't need no stinking research. And allow the Department of Government Efficiency to access Treasury Department data, fire federal probationary workers, end teacher grants, and dismantle the Department of Education. Wisconsin's Attorney General Josh Call recently told WPR's Wisconsin Today, quote, "So far, I think we've selected wisely where we get involved." Now, Call explained how the State Department of Justice is deciding when challenging the Trump administration. A little bit from that interview. With any multi-state litigation, I look at basically 2 issues to determine when to get Wisconsin involved. One is the policy that's being challenged something that's harmful to Wisconsinites? No. Yep. Good point. And in all the cases that we are involved in right now, there are clear harms to our people in our state. Then secondly, is there a strong legal basis for challenging the policy? Is there a basis for us to get into court? Do we have standing because one of the agencies in Wisconsin is harmed? This is a necessary condition for us to win these cases. So there we go. There's more to it. We'll put this up in the show notes from the Urban Milwaukee. This is from yesterday. But 7 of these lawsuits we are involved in. I think these are important ones. I mean, the birthright citizenship, I think, is probably the most galling. And hey, here's a constitutional amendment. Oh, we don't want that.
Right. That's certainly one that looks directly at the Constitution and goes, nope, I don't like that part, so we're just going to ignore it.
We're just going to ignore it. We're going to decree that we're not going to do that, and we're not going to accept that. And again, and I understand there are those folks that are out there that are not inclined to go along with the standing interpretation as it stands for birthright citizenship. Okay, But don't be surprised when you get challenged in court, man. And, you know, if your effort is to keep people out, right? Because I guess what? They're very concerned about the people coming in and having the babies. And then, and then that's a big problem. Didn't Trump's wife do these kind of things?
At least one of them.
The other one too? I mean, I'm not sure exactly how all that went down. But this is pretty basic to me. And the other ones, again, the freezing the funding and cutting research. And these are just, you know, amateur hack Bush League efforts to what? To try. Oh, that's right. What is the whole purpose? Why are we going through this headbanging exercise? Because Donald Trump and the Republicans need to somehow carve out $4.5 trillion so they can get their tax breaks.
Right.
That's it.
There it is.
And I also heard today, and we have some Trump. We have one cut. We're not gonna torch you with the man today, but he did say something about all the investment that's coming into this country since he's been elected, and certainly since he's been president. And of course, I don't believe a word he says, and I don't have to verify the numbers. But he brought up one particular company. I think it was maybe an auto company, maybe a South Korean Hyundai or something. Someone's going to build a steel factory somewhere down south, something along those lines, billions of dollars. Then he threw out there, and we have like $4 trillion. I'm like, oh, you know what? So we randomly just happen to have the same amount of out-country investment coming in that are going to match what you need to offset your tax cuts? Really, dude? This is the same guy that says they're eating the cats, they're eating the dog, eating the pets, right? Remember that guy? This is the same Doge organization that said we were sending $50 million in condoms to Hamas in Gaza, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's same.
Also, maybe $100 million.
Oh, okay. And same ones that said they found $8 billion. Oh, no, $80 million. No. Yeah. So, no, they have zero credibility. And when they send a signal invite to discuss our war efforts to bomb the Houthis to an Atlantic journalist, man, it's also amateur night. Come on, people got to go, man. They got to get fired. Get fired up. Join us on the lines, 855-752-4842. We'll go there next. Welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show. Happy Monday to us all. Join us on the lines, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Plus, we're doing our break into spring. Text to win statewide contest. This hour's keyword is TRIP. Download the Civic Media app, find your favorite station, use the text button at the bottom of the screen, and send the keyword TRIP for your chance to win the statewide contest. And today, I believe it's for what? A chance to win a Chula Vista getaway from the Wisconsin Dells. We partied up there before. It is fun. So check it out. We have until 5 o'clock this contest goes for this hour, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. But today's word, once again, is TRIP. Download that Civic Media app. We got some early innovators, some callers, and we're going to get to this Atlantic piece, man. This administration, wow. Rookie league. We'll start it out. Cam from Appleton, 855-752-4842. Welcome, Cam. Happy Monday. What do you got for us?
Happy Monday, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy to not announce, because obviously it was already announced, but to share with you guys, I'm happy to share with you guys that the court case for the election manipulation related information is going through in New York. The judge has decided, based off the information provided, to accept the lawsuit. So they are going to be able to go forward with it. And I mean, I think it's really exciting. The data that I was looking at was showing, like, in some of the precincts, they were getting like 500 votes for Trump and 0 for Kamala.
All right, so you're saying this is going to go forward. I tell you what, and Cam, thank you for the update. If you'd be so kind, I know you're a prolific texter. Text us the case name or some identifying factors so we can track it here as well. Appreciate it, Cam. Thanks for listening, man. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Now, I know we got some callers that want to get onto this topic, but I want to almost throw the topic out there first, and then we'll get to the callers. So please be patient. I see you there, Claire. See you there, Tim. Sit tight. We're going to get there momentarily, but I do want to get at least the headline out, a paragraph to start, and then the conclusion over the Atlantic. I'm not doing a lot of reading out loud in the Atlantic. They write long articles.
But it's a great piece. It'll be in the show notes. You can read it.
Trump's not a fan. He doesn't know anything. Anyway, here's at the Atlantic. The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. Jeffrey Goldberg, subheadline, U.S. national security leaders included me in a group chat about upcoming military strikes in Yemen. I didn't think it could be real. Then the bombs started falling. Just a couple intros here, then we'll get the extras, and then we'll be done, the outros. The world found out shortly before 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March 15th that the United States was bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. I, however, knew 2 hours before the first bombs exploded that the attack might be coming. The reason I knew this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, at least for now, had texted me the war plan at 11:44 a.m. The plan included precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. And as Jeffrey Goldberg goes on to write, this is going to require some explaining. I'm not going to do the explaining. You got the gist. Dude's number got on a signal chat. And they were sharing it with the vice president, with the secretary of state, representatives from the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth.
And they're sharing very specific information that normally we would consider classified, top secret, of national security importance.
I mean, I know Hillary Clinton had a response to this today. What she had like the googly eyes, right?
You have got to be kidding me.
You've got to be kidding. But her emails. Michael Walls is one of the guys. John Ratcliffe. There's a few folks in here, but Michael Walls, I will point out, it's what we're doing. We're doing national security by emoji now.
Yeah.
He had the fist emoji, the American flag emoji, and a fire emoji.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a video game, except it's not. I want to read the concluding several paragraphs, and we'll get to your calls. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Here's how Jeff Goldberg concludes-ish. I have never seen a breach quite like this. It is not uncommon for national security officials to communicate on Signal, but the app is used primarily for meeting planning and other logistical matters, not for detailed and highly confidential discussions of pending military action. And of course, I've never heard of an instance in which a journalist has been invited to such a discussion. Now, conceivably, Walz, in coordinating the national security-related action over Signal, may have violated several provisions of the Espionage Act, which governs the handling of national defense information, according to several national security lawyers interviewed by my colleague Shane Harris for this story. And I would mention, there's other reporting out there, at least Senator Chris Coons, saying they're all potentially part of a crime. It wasn't just that Walz, coordinated. Everybody else was playing along. Every single one of them. No one stood up and said, guys,
maybe this isn't the best platform.
Maybe, what, Tinder was down? Harris. Now, Shane Harris, who talked to the national security lawyers who were, saying that this may have violated the Espionage Act, Shane Harris, he asked those lawyers to consider a hypothetical scenario in which a senior U.S. official creates a signal thread for the express purpose of sharing information with cabinet officials about an active military operation. He did not show them the actual signal messages or tell them specifically what had occurred. Well, that's a good way to do it. Never want to seed it, let them come up and tell you. Now, all of these lawyers said that a U.S. official should not establish a signal thread in the first place. Information about an active operation would presumably fit the law's definition of national defense information. Yeah. The Signal app is not approved by the government for sharing classified information. Period. Is not. But, these days, who cares? Approval, schmoozle. We'll just get someone to do something.
Right. You can just declassify things with your mind. So
the government has its own systems for that purpose. Yeah, but they're probably clumsy, like in DOS. You had to go to a room or something.
Right.
If officials want to discuss military activity, they should go into a specifically designed space known as a sensitive compartmentalized information facility. We call those a SCIF. At the shop, that's how we call them. It's a SCIF. Now, most cabinet-level national security officials have one installed in their home or communicate only on approved government equipment. Well, most cabinet-level of security officials. That's what the lawyer said. Now, normally, cell phones are not permitted inside a SCIF, which suggests that as these officials were sharing information about an active military operation, they could have been moving around in public. Had they lost their phones or had they been stolen, the potential risk to national security would have been severe. Now, Hegseth, Radcliffe, and other cabinet-level officials presumably would have the authority to declassify information, and several of the national security lawyers noted that the hypothetical officials in the Signal chain might claim that they had declassified the information they shared. But this argument rings hollow, they caution, because Signal is not an authorized venue for sharing information of such sensitive nature, regardless of whether it has been stamped top secret or not. There was another potential problem. Walz set some of the messages in the Signal group to disappear after 1 week and some after 4. That raises questions about whether the officials may have violated federal records law. Text messages about official acts are considered records that should be preserved. I'm going to stop right there for just a moment. Of course, that's what first thing I think of is like, well, if they're doing this on Signal and set to delete and does it, in a week or 4 days or whatever the case, or 4 weeks, whatever the case may be, what else are they doing it for?
Right.
It's probably not the only time that this crew is using unauthorized apps, like Signal in this case, to do their business.
Something that we won't be able to file a
Freedom of Information request?
One of those.
No, it's not there. We don't have that.
It's not there. It's gone.
It's encrypted. Deleted after 4.
What was that about, the most transparent administration ever?
Yes. Let's see. More here. Under the records laws applicable to the White House and federal agencies, all government employees are prohibited from using electronic messaging applications such as Signal for official businesses unless those messages are promptly forwarded or copied to an official government account. Yeah, right. Intentional violations of these requirements are a basis for disciplinary action. Additionally, agencies such as the Department of Defense restrict electronic messaging containing classified information to classified government networks and or networks with government-approved encrypted features. Yeah, not an app. Now, several former U.S. officials told Harris and me that they had used Signal to share unclassified information and to discuss routine matters, particularly when traveling overseas without access to U.S. government systems. That's also, I think, a little problematic, but I go on. But they knew never to share classified or sensitive information with the app because their phones could have been hacked by a foreign intelligence service, which would have been able to read the messages on the devices. Now, it is worth noting that Donald Trump, as a candidate for president and as president, repeatedly and vociferously demanded that Hillary Clinton be imprisoned for using a private email server for official business when she was Secretary of State. It was also worth noting that Trump was indicted in 2023 for mishandling classified documents, but the charges were dropped after his election. Oh, yeah, that's right. And I'll throw out there just another one for the megas out there. During the Mueller investigation, the first time, the Russia investigation, one of the issues that Mueller had was he couldn't get the actual data because the Trump side and the parties were communicating via encrypted apps. So he couldn't get the data. Now, why do you think those folks were communicating with encrypted apps? Maybe they got a little used to it. You know what I'm saying? The Atlantic article goes on. Walz and other cabinet-level officials were already potentially violating government policy and the law simply by texting one another about the operation. But when Walz added a journalist, presumably by mistake, to his principals committee, he created new security and legal issues. Now, the group was transmitting information to someone not authorized to receive it. This is the classic definition of a leak. Even if it was unintentional and even if the recipient of the leak did not actually believe it was a leak until Yemen came under the American attack. Again, he's referring to himself there. Mm-hmm. All along, members of the Signal Group were aware of the need for secrecy in operations security. In his text detailing aspects of the forthcoming attack on the Houthi targets, Hegseth wrote to the group, which at the time included me, "We are currently clean on OPSEC, OPSEC. Shane Harris contributing to Jeffrey Goldberg." Imagine getting that, man. And then, okay, we have one cut from Trump. Can we play that quick? Here's Trump being asked about this today.
Your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
What?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what?
I don't know anything.
What were they
I'm an
talking
old
about?
man. I'm confused.
The Houthis, you mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it.
You don't know. The guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything.
Time.
I'm so confused. But The Atlantic, that's a terrible magazine. I can't believe they did this. OPSEC. We got OPSEC. We got operational security. No, you don't. No, dude. No, you don't. And one of the other issues, he was concerned about, there was some actually back and forth between Vice President, Vance, right? Vance Pence, his name. But with Vance saying, should we hold off? Should we do this? The price of oil. We hate bailing out those European bums. And Hegseth responded like, well, there's a couple of reasons why. Because number one, nothing's going to change, and number two, this could leak. Yeah. What? Yeah, you think? Man.
This could leak, he says, over an unsecure server.
We got OPSEC. Folks, we got the Dom Salvia Show. We got Just PS on the board. We got you folks lining up. We're going to get to you next. And, of course, Harvey Kaye coming at the top of the hour, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Your calls are next. Welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic, your last time to play the Break Into Spring Text to Win contest right here at Civic Media. This hour's keyword is TRIP. All you have to do, download the Civic Media app, find your favorite station, use the text button at the bottom, and send the keyword TRIP for your chance to win the statewide contest. And this particular time today, it's a chance to win a Chula Vista getaway at the Wisconsin Dells. Good luck to all of us, all of you. I can't play, apparently. I was told. No one told me before. Jess told me. What do you mean I can't play? I want to play.
All of us are barred from playing, Dom.
Rules, schmool. What are you talking about? That was in the old days. Nowadays, we can do whatever the hell we want.
I know. Just look at our president.
It's a new world out there, and I am living in it, baby. Harvey Kaye coming up at the top of the hour. Let's get to some of your calls. You've been very patient. We appreciate you being patient. The original Claire, you will have the next word today. Welcome, Claire. What do you got?
Hi, Dominic. I grant you immunity. You can play.
Yes, thank you.
No, Claire. He'll be too powerful.
Because I said so.
Your Delta Chi name is Flounder. Thank you.
There you go. Donald Trump's reaction to this whole fiasco, this horrible military leak issue, is absolutely 100% unacceptable.
Yes.
It is not about him. And it's not about the frickin' Atlantic magazine.
It's terrible losing magazine. They're very bad. I don't read it. I don't read it, but I don't know anything. What happened again? Signal?
What are you telling me?
What? But we're very efficient, and that's a terrible magazine. But I don't know what happened.
Yeah, the Sergeant Schultz defense is not going to fly, buddy. I know nothing. What a jerk. As the president and the commander-in-chief, what he should have said was, this is a very, very serious issue. We are all very concerned, and we're going to look into what happened so it never happens again. And I apologize to all the military families, the military members, anybody involved in this. They put their lives on the line for our country every day, and they were at risk.
And they continue to be at risk. Claire, thank you for the call. Got a few other lining up. They continue to be at risk. And you're never going to get an apology from this guy or this administration. I highly doubt it. One other thing. Democrats from the NBC reporting, Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, he's got something to say about this. This administration playing fast and loose with our nation's most classified info, and it makes all Americans less safe. Every single one of the government officials on this text chain have now committed a crime, even if accidentally, that would normally involve a jail sentence. A jail sentence. Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, blasted it as amateur hour. I think I've said something like that. So Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, lighting him up. Pete Hegseth texting out war plans like he invites to a frat party. BYOB, man, $3 a cup. Bring it on. We've got OPSEC. Do you really? Do you though? Do you though? 855-752-4842. Tim from Eau Claire, you are up. Welcome, Tim. What do you got?
Yeah. What's going to happen? I told your caller, screener, or whatever there, that Tulsi Gabbard had said they're going to stop the leaks and people are going to be prosecuted. But what's going to happen is they're going to turn this all around on the reporter and say he should have never clicked on that link. He's the one at fault here. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, and Tim, thank you for that. I don't know that I haven't seen any Tulsi Gabbard's specific comments about this today. I did hear Tulsi Gabbard talk about folks might be prosecuted. They're doing investigations to who leaked the fact or the impression or the story that Elon Musk is going to get the Chinese battle plans. That was one thing I know specifically she talked about. I'm not clear whether or not Tulsi Gabbard had anything to do or anything to say about this. Hell, she might have been on that call.
No, not specifically, but she, from what I saw, she was in the text chain. But this was a little while ago, sending out a social media post that anyone who participates in any of these leaks will be prosecuted fully.
Yeah, I hope so. So long, national security leaders, if that's what you are. Hey, Jack from the Mac, you are next. Welcome, Jack. What do you got? Hello, Jack. We lost Jack? No more Jack.
Hello?
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jack, you're up. What do you got?
Okay, I have a question that I would like you to ask, and I know you have these people on your program on a regular basis, either Maggie Dawn or Jim Santel. Trump has been granted regal immunity from any kind of prosecution, apparently, but his minions don't seem to have been granted immunity.
Correct.
If, of course, if we ever get a legitimate Department of Justice again, and of course we'll have to vote people that will put the people that are interested in following the law into place. But if we ever get these people in again, we should really prosecute every single one of these minions.
Well, thanks for the call. You're absolutely right. The president does have some limited immunity in that regard that's given to them by a lot. He has a lot of immunity. But that only applies to a president. It only applies to while they're a sitting president. So if Trump becomes no longer the president, perhaps anything from beyond that would not be covered. But he is covered now. Now, those folks that are around him, Now, they could be pardoned. But no, if they go along with unconstitutional, illegal orders, whatever the case may be, they don't have immunity from that. Come back with us. Harvey Kaye plus more of your calls. We'll continue this topic. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC.
Hello, Harvey Kaye.
Good afternoon. Have they gone public with the, is it clear that Dom's show is coming?
Nope.
Look. Okay. Hey, Harvey.
Hey, man, what's happening?
Hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, pleasure. God, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you two to chit-chat.
All right. This isn't going out, right? This doesn't go out?
It's going out to streamers.
Oh, it's going out to streamers. All right, well... Okay.
Well, don't say anything you don't want streamers to hear.
At the very end, stay on a minute or two after the show.
After, all right, we'll do that. I want to get to. I mean, we just brought up the Atlantic. This frickin' crap show.
They're evil and stupid.
Yeah, not a great mix. Wow. So I want to go there, and then we can kind of bounce around. You see Bernie Sanders, man, this weekend he had 15,000 people in Tempe. Was that Tempe? Where was he? Arizona?
Well, yeah. And what was it in Denver or thereabouts? Was it something even like 30,000+? Did someone say? They were outdoors.
Well, let's see. 15,000 Arizona. That was 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
Newsweek, videos of Bernie AOC. Let's see what this one takes. Okay, yeah, they're going online here. A lot of, 15,000 in Phoenix.
I want to see more Democrats going. It's nice he's taking along AOC, but he's got to see more Democrats,
Let's see. What's the big deal? 123,000 watched online. Let's see. Even bigger crowd. Oh, here we go. Denver's Civic Center, Colorado, Civic Center Park, Colorado Public Radio reported 34,000 people.
That's what I was going to. Yeah, 34,000.
Yeah.
And somebody said that they thought that was an underestimation, but that doesn't matter. 34,000 is very
That's still a lot of people. Yep. So let's kind of pound on the Atlantic piece, and we'll talk about the Bernie piece, and then
Sure.
what anything else you want to get to after that, we'll entertain it all, man.
Okay.
Oh, the other court, there's a court case today that they're kind of pushing back. They say the Nazis got better treatment of the Alien Enemies Act than these folks did. This is what the judge said. Jeez, man, I know.
It really is. This use of the Alien Enemies Act is really dangerous because the president, according to the way they read it, the president can designate anyone.
Well, right. You know what I mean? Including that guy, Harvey Kaye, man. I don't even know. I don't know if you're even a citizen. We'll just send you away and good luck.
I don't know. You've got that anarchist last name, Salvia.
Yeah, man.
Sacco and Vanzetti, man.
Anarchy in the UK. We need to hear some of that. All right, man. I'm going to hit the restroom, and I'll see you on the radio in a little bit here.
You bet. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Harvey, I can still hear you if you need anything, but I'm working on podcasting.
Okay. Very nice. Oh, Jess?
Yep.
They haven't gone public, but it remains the case that at the end of the month, it's done. Oh, sorry. Yeah, got it. So we're streaming, right? Jesus.
Yep.
All right. Afterwards. Of course, we were talking about the Trump administration not going public with additional felonies. We got 2 minutes. How long?
2.5.
Okay. You don't have to respond. I'll just talk. I was trying to get on earlier, and then I realized the reason that StreamYard wasn't letting me advance was I was using my Safari browser, so I had to flip over to Chrome.
One minute, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
$30. $10.
Okay.
Broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Dom Salvia Show. And now, here's your host, Dom Salvia.
And welcome to the Dom Salvia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. You can also be a part. Hit us up, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Got Just PS working hard on the board. It's Monday. So our pal Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, joining us for this hour. Harvey, welcome back, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. Can I just ask, do you guys have snow from last night, or did you not get the?
Nope, no snow here. How's it up in Green Bay, man?
Well, everything's white. It's not very deep, but everything's white. And last night we had every kind of precipitation imaginable.
Yeah.
We just had rain.
Spring in Wisconsin.
Sprinter.
It's amazing, Harvey. You know, like when fall first starts and winter comes in, it's so pretty. And by this time, we're like, oh my God, let's get.
You are.
I'm happy. You still like the white.
I still like.
No, you'll take it no matter how long.
Yeah.
No. Oh.
Give me snow in May.
Oh.
Funny you say that.
Blasphemy.
Wait.
Damn it, Dom.
Wake it up, you guys.
Throwing
Stop.
Pens at me.
No, what I was going to say is what I was hoping last night is that at least in the morning, you know, when there's that snow which leaves behind a kind of crystalline, it's crystal-like on the tree limbs. The trees don't like it, but it's just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the sun shines on it and it sparkles. I was hoping for that today. That's not what happened. So
that's not. It's like a Christmas card when it gets like that. Yeah, it is.
That's right.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. But unlike Jess, I'm down for the hot weather come July. And hey, Harvey, it's getting hot in here. This is getting hot. This administration, man, I cannot. It is hard. We talked about it last hour. And we're going to continue to talk about it. I want to get your impression. Jeffrey Goldberg from the failing Atlantic. I mean, if you hear Trump. Trump doesn't know. I'm an old man. I'm confused. Even know what's going on. I mean, he gets included on this in this signal invite and talking about military attacks on Yemen, man. And it's like such Bush League amateur hour. It's hard to even believe it. And then I want to play the clip and let's talk about this and get your perspective, Harvey. Donald Trump asked about this today. We played it last hour. Let's play it again, if you would, please, Jess. Here is Donald Trump confronting presumably illegal sharing of national security information by the highest levels of his administration. Pete Hegseth, Vice President Vance, right? Not Vance. Not Pence, Vance. Mm-hmm. And what? Everyone else, everybody was involved. Let's hear what Trump had to say.
Your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
What?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
The boss didn't know anything about it. I don't know if that's even better or worse.
Right. Is that good news?
Sleepy Don. Wait a minute. Sleepy Don.
See, that's great. And Harvey, thank you for bringing that up. One of course, the obvious ironies, let's call it hypocrisies, that if this were to be, I don't know, call it President Joe Biden, Fox, don't call it news, and the righties would be losing their freaking minds right now. But Donald Trump, he knows nothing. And I heard Fox News earlier today when they started out talking about the immigration lawsuits that are going on. And finally, about 20 after the hour, got to it and were very, well, that's bad, but, I bet they wish they could take it back kind of attitude. This is devastating. We're talking about J.D. Vance. We're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent, Dan Katz, Dan Caldwell, Department of Defense, Brian McCormick for the NSC, John Ratcliffe, the CIA. I mean, it's not great, man. And let's not forget, of course, the most important one, Jeffrey Goldberg. And for Donald Trump to say this is a failing magazine, man, they just blew your administration to pieces, man. And you invited them. Harvey, please help me.
Well, let me start off by saying, for the historical record, that I believe the Atlantic was founded back before the Civil War, easily back maybe in the 1840s.
It's been failing for a long time, Harvey.
Failing for a long time, you bet. Okay. Look, I mean, this is, when I heard this, a young fellow out in California, amongst many people, was sending me this story. And I read it and I thought, wait, this is a joke, isn't it? This is a joke. And then I tried to figure out, what is Hegseth? He's the guy who sent it, right? Hegseth?
Yes.
Oh,
no, I believe.
Oh, wasn't
National
him.
Security
Michael,
Advisor.
Yeah, the connection request that Goldberg got was from Michael Walls.
Oh, no relation to Tim Walls.
No. But Hegseth was the one 2 hours before the attack that sounded the final battle plan that apparently made Jeffrey Goldberg believe that this was in fact not a joke and it was real because the bomb
Michael
started
Walls
flying.
alive today? By the way, is he still alive today?
Who's that? I'm sorry?
Michael Walls, the guy who sent it to Jeffrey Goldberg.
No, he might be in a jail in
El Salvador.
El Salvador, right.
God. I mean, what can one say? I mean, I rarely use the word evil, but today I forwarded that piece of information and to a bunch of people, and I said, evil and stupid. Okay. Evil and stupid. Evil because they are. Stupid because they can't control their evil. It's like they want to brag about it. They want to brag about it to the point of jeopardizing national security. What can we say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced they actually care about national security. If they did, they wouldn't be doing this on an app, man. You know what I mean?
Well, Hegseth and his team probably said, look, my title is Secretary of Defense. Somebody else has national security. It's not my problem. Right?
Right. Yeah, folks are listening to the Dom Salvia Show. That's Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. We're talking about this breaking news, this leak, an errant invite sent out to a journalist at the Atlantic. And I think also, Harvey, one of the things that bothers me, besides all this, but if you get into like actually looking at some of the texts, J.D. Vance says, hey, Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Yeah. Then Vance goes on to say, let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Now, when is our national security concerns about the Houthis is all of a sudden an issue with Saudi oil facilities? Is that part of our national interest, Harvey?
Well, they would definitely say that oil interests are part of American national security, although they've been bragging that I think Obama started, we're bragging that, we're like the leading oil producer in the world these days.
We've never produced as much as we did last year under Biden in the history of this country, but we're going to do more.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't mean to segue away from this, but is it true that they're sending a delegation, an American delegation to Greenland, which will include Vance's wife?
I think it did happen. I don't believe it was received very well, but I didn't dig into it.
I'd love to hear the logic behind that move.
This is a great island you got here. It'd be terrible if something happened to it. Now here's Pete Hegseth. Here's the Secretary of Defense, right? I mean, this is the guy, man. This is the man. VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's all caps pathetic. Yeah, there's Pete Hegseth about our European allies. But he goes on. But Mike is correct. We're the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else, even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is a good time as any, given POTUS' directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go. But POTUS still retains 24 hours decision notice.
24 hours decision notice? Hell, he doesn't even know what's going on, right?
Now,
according to his own account.
No, right, exactly. I don't even know. But maybe you knew what was going on as far as the attack. You didn't know how they were communicating, perhaps? Now, there's an SM. He jumps in here. Now, the Atlantic assumes this is Stephen Miller. As I heard it, the president was clear. Green light, but we soon make clear to Egypt and Europe that we expect in return, what we expect in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement. Ergo, if Europe doesn't remunerate, then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return. Now, what I'm reading there is that we want to get paid for this from what? From Egypt and Europe. Pay us.
Pay us, right.
We're going to do this. Pay us. Pete Hegseth, agree. Now, is it part of the Department of Defense's concern whether or not there's, I don't know, payback? That Europe and Egypt pay America back In what?
With Donald Trump in office and Elon Musk his intimate advisor, every department is now the Department of Commerce. Let's be clear about that, number one. Okay. And number two, by the way, I promise not to pick on you after this.
Okay.
It's remunerate, is it not?
Remunerate?
Right. Remunerate is to
remunerate
things.
Okay,
right?
Maybe I read that wrong. Remunerate. Correct. Thank you, Harvey. Hey, correct me all the. If I'm ever wrong, it's so rare. Please correct me.
You might throw a pen at you though.
Yeah. There's a window. I'm not actually threatening. I'm just emphasizing. Harvey, then one final thing, at least on this topic, and we could take your calls as well, 855-752-4842. Michael Walls, when this all goes down, he puts out a couple of emojis in the signal. Yeah. One's a fist bump. Then it's followed immediately by the American flag, and then a fire. Like
he deleted the emoji of himself picking his nose, by the way.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just not serious to me, man. You know, it's not serious. It seems dangerous. It's obviously exposing secrets and could be detrimental. Now, thankfully, this went over to Goldberg at the Atlantic, who was skeptical, as one would be when you're all of a sudden invited into these kinds of things. And he didn't, in his article, put forth or print any of those kinds of details that he received. And it's been confirmed. And other folks are saying, Chris Coons, who's in the Senate Intelligence Committee, saying these folks are breaking the law in multiple ways. But there we go. That's this administration.
Remind me to refer to Steve Bannon when we come back.
We'll talk about Steve Bannon with Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy. We still have that, right, Harvey? From the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Plus your calls, 855-752-4842. Come back with us.
I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist. I was a teenage anarchist.
One minute.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. Steve Bannon said, smash the state. They're going all out to do it. Even this kind of stuff, geez.
$30 seconds. $15.
Welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Can't find my pen. Jess.
Gee. Oh, now it's my fault.
Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, joining me for the hour. You can join us as well, 855-75-CIVIC. Did find some news on the Greenland delegation, Harvey, but you wanted to talk about Steve Bannon.
No, I just wanted to quote Steve Bannon.
Okay, please.
Sure.
Quote.
Okay. So this is back leading up to the first Trump administration. Steve Bannon basically wanted to emulate Lenin, and his advice, I believe, to Trump and others is to smash the state, destroy the state. And I keep thinking about that. And when I heard that news today, I thought, it's almost as if the insidiousness has gotten to the point of revealing our national security secrets as a means by which you can destroy the American government. I mean, that's how perverse things have gotten.
Well, I mean, that could have happened in the first Trump administration. Hell, he took everything with him down to Mar-a-Lago, man. Who knows what happened to that stuff? I have no faith in this president, in this administration.
Oh, of course.
And obviously, I mean, it's nefarious, certainly if it was purposeful, but even evil and stupid, Harvey, I mean, not a great combination. How does this happen, and how is not everybody canned? You know what I'm saying? And I cannot wait to listen to Fox News. Don't call it news. I cannot wait to hear the conservative talk radio folks. I can't wait to hear the conservative pundits.
Well,
how are you going to spin this? What is your defense of this? Well,
consider this. During the break, I Googled Michael Waltz. Okay, if I've got the right guy.
Yeah.
He was a former Army Special Forces officer. I mean, what is that? What kind of people are we dealing with here? I mean, Army Special Forces, and then he's sending out, in quotes, state secrets to failing magazines like The Atlantic.
Michael Waltz. And as he wrote, I assume Michael Waltz in question was President Trump's national security advisor. I mean, this is the administration. There is no getting around this. This is everybody, quote, the national security leaders. These are the leaders. And they were so critical with the Biden administration. They're so critical, of course, going back to the black guy, of course, the Obama administration, very critical. But what's the reaction now? What is the righty reaction now? Oh, I wish I could take it back. That's what Fox Don't Call It News says. I wish I could take it back. I mean,
we're not calling for massive investigations. We're not calling for hearings that never end.
It's funny. I said to Lorna, I said to my wife earlier, I said, at least if we had the House, the Democrats could at least, do some kind of investigation. My God, what are the chances the Republicans are even going to say anything about what's happened?
Man, I mean, I'm with you, man. If I was a betting man, they're not going to do squat. I mean, they're not going to open an investigation into their own. I don't believe that for a minute. But if they were righteous, they absolutely would, man. You know what I'm saying? If I believe in X, Y, and Z, and my party or anybody goes against X, Y, and Z, and it's determined that it's illegal or unconstitutional or breaking the law because it's not an approved system, whatever the case is, yeah, man, that's what you do. That's called credibility. Do you know what I mean? That's not selling out. That's not buying in. That's called following through on the principles by which you were elected, on the Constitution by which you swore an oath.
Right.
But
swore an oath.
Sworn oath, but it doesn't mean anything, Harvey. It doesn't mean anything to these people.
Nothing. You're right. Absolutely nothing.
Folks, you're listening to the Dom Salvia Show. That's Harvey Kaye, 855-752-4842. Okay, real quick before we get to the callers, ABC News reporting. Second Lady Usha Vance will be part of a delegation traveling to Greenland this week after Trump's repeated statements that the U.S. should own and control the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Because, I mean, if Putin can do it, why can't I want one too. The U.S. has a vested national security interest in the Arctic region, and it should not be a surprise that National Security Advisor and Secretary of Energy are visiting a U.S. space base to get firsthand briefings from our service members on the ground, the National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes said in a statement. Now, Greenland's prime minister in a statement called the upcoming visit, quote, very aggressive American pressure against the Greenlandic community and called for an international community to step in to rebuke it. Making friends influencing people and making friends, Harvey, everywhere we go. And the old man, when presented with these questions, doesn't know anything. Can we?
He also couldn't remember Usha's name, so there was that.
Oh my God.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah, I would very much like to say proud of
The
Mrs. J.D. Vance.
First lady, the
what's her name?
The wife of the vice president.
Oh, do we
He
have
may
some?
have. He may have
No,
asked.
I didn't
He may
cut
have
that
asked.
one.
He may have asked Melania first, and she probably gave him the finger when he did.
She'd have to be there to give him the finger, man. Let's get a caller in. Mark from the SEC. You are up. Happy Monday. Mark, you're on with Dom and Harvey Kaye.
But Hillary's email.
Right, man.
For the love of God, I mean, nobody looked at the CC list on this thing, and why is this going? And as you just mentioned, I was talking to her. You have emojis on a phone call.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the kind of thing you have a phone call on a secured line to do this stuff, rather than send an email that can go anywhere. It gets forward to I mean, I'm trying to keep my jaw from dropping down to my chest, because this is just such amateur hour stuff.
Yes.
Yes. And nobody noticed this until the guy from the Atlantic actually said, "What the heck is this?"
Right. He was hanging out there like a fly on the wall for like a week or something, man. And not only that, Mark and Harvey, thank you for the call, Mark. Harvey, no one else on that signal conversation piped up and said a word. Nobody thought that this was a bad idea.
Fun. They all thought it was fun. They were high-fiving each other on video call, I'm sure.
And no one looked at who all was on that list to maybe go, oh, who's this other one?
Who's that guy? Who's the guy that's not responding to any of our fun little jokes and are ripping on our European allies and trying to shake down Egypt and Europe? Because if we do something, you guys gotta it's what was the term again, Harvey? Remunerate. Thank you. We've got to get remunerated. Back in my day, they just called it extortion. But, it's really fancy when Stephen Miller says it. Folks, come back with us. Some good news. Some great news. Well, we do good news. Tell us something good at the end of the hour, which we'll always do. But, man, you see the crowds for Bernie and AOC over the weekend? It is outrageous. 15,000 in Phoenix. 30-plus thousand in Colorado. We're going to go there next with Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Join us.
All right, Harvey, 5 minutes.
Oh, you're there. Are we just streaming? Okay, I can say this.
Still streaming.
That's fine. This is healthy stuff. When we go back, if we're going to talk about the sizeless crowds, I do want to point out in a different style, 500 people, well, nearly 500, it was really close, like 590 something, turned out for a Zoom town hall yesterday that I was speaking to on how we ended up with Trump. Okay. And seriously speaking, I've never had a Zoom audience of 500. That's a sign of just how eager people are becoming to start hearing about and figuring out what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Tell us about that on air, please.
Okay.
I got to screen some calls.
Sure.
2 minutes.
You bet.
One minute. $15.
Brother Bellas in the back, sweet singers in the front, cruising down the freeway in the hot, hot sun. Suddenly red blue lights flash us from behind. Loud voice booming, please step out onto the line. Ballet bridge words of comfort, Cena just hides her eyes. Policeman taps the shades, is that a Chevy 69? How bizarre.
And welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, friend of ours. Always love it when Harvey comes around. And, you know, big fans of FDR and progressivism. And Harvey, man, I just noticed that, what, you did, unlike some Republicans, you did a town hall. Now, were you yelled at? I mean, how did it go for you, and what was that all about, Harvey?
Well, I was invited by Progressive Democrats of America, for whom I've done town halls before, and these are Zoom town halls. So I was here, and everybody else was all around the world, I suppose. Anyhow, I was so thrilled. I've had a very sizable audience in the past for these events. I had 500 people.
Nice.
Zooming in, 500. Why? Because I was talking about how we got into this mess and what history tells us we need to do to get out of it. And I can tell you, I was really, there's an English word, well, it's American, but they use it in England more. I was chuffed. I mean, chuffed. I was like a bird with its feathers, like chuffed.
Yeah, feeling good, man.
And it was great. And the questions were fabulous. And people were over and over again wanting to know what we can do and offering their suggestions and wondering how they can get in touch with local labor councils. I mean, there is something going on. And you and I know what went on over the weekend with Bernie Sanders and AOC. You can give the numbers. I mean, it was extraordinary.
It was. According to Newsweek, Sanders and AOC spoke to a crowd of some 15,000 in Phoenix. One of the clips that had apparently got up to like 1.4 million views that she put out there. Then as well, another 34,000 in Colorado. And I guess some folks are saying that could be even more than that. And, you know, I've been lamenting over the last couple of weeks. I mean, really since the Chuck Schumer call in the Senate to go along and get nothing and play ball like everything's normal. What's going on? And I think so. In this respect, Harvey, it's not just me, man. I mean, if you're getting that many people chiming in, if AOC and Bernie are getting folks showing up to that degree, it seems like there's something in the air.
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you examples from around the country. Okay. So as you know, I work with this, well, I have worked and I work a bit with this veterans group, progressive veterans group down in Sarasota.
Yeah.
And I had suggested to them that they made contact with even the conservative American Legion because of what the Trump administration is doing to the Veterans Affairs Administration. And they did follow through, and they said that the response is remarkable. And I bet all around the country, veterans groups are wondering, what can we do? And they're making contact with each other. That's one. It's also the case that there are labor councils. Yesterday, a guy who was calling in zoomed in from Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, said that his local Democratic Party and the Labor Council are cooperating. I mean, there's this kind of activity that's bubbling up. Even in places where, Trump may well have won the vote last time, things are happening. I mean, they try to claim that the Trumpsters at some point have said, well, these are paid agents who are showing up at our town halls, to upset things. But, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. I hope. I mean, sorry. From my mouth to God's ears, as they say.
Right. Well, it seems the case. And again, to have that many people show up, not that long after a defeat. And it wasn't a mandate that the Republicans won by any means. So there's still passion, and that's good to see. The leadership. Who is it? Well, it's not Chuck, in my opinion, and AOC and Sanders. And I saw Bernie Sanders was getting interviewed, I believe, maybe by CNN. And the interviewer, I forget the person's name, was asking about, hey, what do you think about, Schumer? Should Schumer continue on, or, something along those lines? Sanders wasn't having any of it. Didn't want to talk about it. And he's like, that's inside the Beltway stuff. That's not what this is about. Basically, I'm tired, and that's not what we're doing. And that's what I'm saying. Man, Bernie's out there like this. He's 80-some years old, man, out there. He doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to, and he's doing it. AOC, thankfully, she's there too, and I hope more folks get out there and do it. When you did your Zoom town hall, Harvey, what to paraphrase, summarize for me? What's the answer? What does history teach us about how we can react in these moments?
Okay, well, history. When I was first becoming a historian and then a political scientist and a sociologist, I thought history doesn't tell us exactly what to do. But I've come to the conclusion that there are understandings of history that can tell us exactly what to do. So here's the thing. Back in 1935, Sinclair Lewis from Minnesota wrote a novel titled It Can what the hell was it? He called it It Can't Happen Here. That's right. It Can't Happen Here, which, by the way, in the novel, he showed that it could happen here. Okay. Well, the point is, I said, well, why did it not happen in the 1930s? Because in 1930 to 32, there were quite a few people in this country of prominence who sort of talked about, well, we could really use a Mussolini here in the United States. The editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair magazine, the American Political Science Association. Yeah, right. It was in the minds of the elite because they were seriously worried about the possibility of this uprising. Keep in mind, the veterans of World War I were marching on Washington to demand an early payment of what was called their veterans bonus. I mean, things were happening. Workers were out on the streets in Detroit and in Flint and places like that, demanding that Ford hire them, that they, that on and on. Or in the case of Flint, there would have been General Motors. But the point is that why did it not happen in the 30s? Well, I'll tell you why it didn't happen in the 30s. Because FDR responded to working people's anger and anxiety, and they responded to his promise of a New Deal, and they elected him president. And in the early 30s, right through the 30s, they radically transformed the United States. In addition to all of the physical transformations, from fighting the Dust Bowl. Look, most people can find right in their own hometowns evidence of the New Deal. It might be the post office. It might be the library. It might be the hospital in the nearby larger town or city. The New Deal transformed the American landscape, improved the American infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why did 1 million farms in the 1930s all of a sudden get electricity? Because the FDR administration said we can't wait on private companies to provide power to rural areas because they're going to try to do it at a high price. And they created cooperatives for farmers. Okay. Moreover, they literally helped liberate workers. Workers wanted power. They wanted unions. And FDR in 33, but then again, especially in 35, took the advice of Robert Wagner and Bob LaFollette Jr. here from Wisconsin, and he signed into law the National Labor Relations Act. So, and that same year, they signed into law the Social Security Act. Now, what's the lessons of all of this? The lessons of all of this is to rescue, to save the nation, the democratic promise of this nation, from the likes of Trump, authoritarians and fascists and other wannabe dictators.
Billionaires, yep.
The trick is you've got to go progressive, if not radical. You've got to enhance American democracy. You can't wait around hoping that Americans will say, oh, let's save democracy and vote for a Democrat. No, the Democrats have to prove themselves. They have to engage working people and engage their aspirations, their anxieties. They have to articulate it, and then they have to move on those things. I mean, the trick is you mobilize people, not by just saying to them, they're threatening democracy. You mobilize people by showing them how you intend to work with them to enhance American democracy. Back at the turn of the century, there was a writer. He was a progressive and a populist and a socialist, worked for the Tribune in Chicago, I think it was, and a host of progressive newspapers. And he wrote, he said, the only way we can save the rights that our fathers afforded us is to afford new rights for our kids. He said children, but I'm saying kids. That's the trick. That's how you do it. So right now, if the Democrats can't get it together, let the labor movement step in its place. We are desperately in need of an organized progressive force to push the Democratic Party to become the party of Roosevelt. The party even of the Republican Party of Lincoln even would be fabulous. My God. Okay. That's what we need. Both Lincoln and FDR appreciated if you're going to save the United States and American democratic life, you have to pursue a radical course of action. In Lincoln's case, responding to working people's anger about the South and slaves' efforts to cross over to the Union lines, he signed into law, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and then supported immediately the idea of an amendment to bring an end to slavery. FDR, the National Labor Relations Act, Social Security, fought the Dust Bowl in the Plains states. I mean, you got to act. And the Democrats have abandoned that understanding. They turned their backs on the FDR tradition and the working class. And it's got to be turned around again. We've got to get the Democrats to go progressive. As FDR said back in 31 to a friend, it's time we make this nation fairly radical for at least a generation.
Folks, you're listening to the Dom Salvia Show. That's Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin at Green Bay. Before we get to the callers, Harvey, 855-752-4842. What was the engagement? What was voter participation back in the 30s and 40s? I mean, I feel like we're disengaged now compared to history, but I have no actual sense of reality of that.
So FDR, it's interesting how Bernie's traveling the country.
Yeah.
FDR knew he had to reach Americans. He was the first really radio president. So that's first of all. And he actually encouraged Americans to write to him. And by the way, 400,000 responded. It was the most incredible kind of thing. That's first. Second of all, he told his cabinet officers to go out and encourage not only workers to organize, but for women, housewives, to organize to keep an eye on what business is doing in the midst of the Depression. And they organized from New York to California, including the Dakotas, the first, as the Nation magazine called it back in the 30s, the first American housewives movement. Okay, it started among Italian and Jewish and Black housewives in Manhattan and Brooklyn and the Bronx, and it spread across the country. In other words, he was encouraging Americans to organize to not only support the New Deal campaign, the New Deal efforts, but actually to push him further than he would otherwise have gone. So to engage meant that he literally invited their participation, not only in the labors of the New Deal, like in the WPA and the what they call this, the civil, what's it called? that young people got into.
Civil service?
It was Civilian Conservation Corps. That's it.
Oh, the Corps.
The Civilian Conservation Corps. I mean, which, by the way, transformed a lot of southwestern Wisconsin, fought soil erosion, which was a major problem in the southwestern part of the hilly part of the state of Wisconsin.
But as just straight up, voting and engaging in the process, certainly I feel like they were more engaged based on what you're telling me here. But did a greater percentage of population actually go to the polls back then than they do now, in your opinion?
Well, okay, yes, in many ways, and tragically, of course, in the South, blacks. And by the way, people don't realize this, the poll taxes and the literacy requirements, that kept not only blacks from voting, but in pure numbers, it kept greater numbers of whites from voting. White sharecroppers, white small farmers, white working class, they didn't get to vote. So, but nevertheless, those who could voted for FDR. They used to hang his picture on the wall in their kitchens. I mean, it was great. By the way, in the 30s, families started naming their kids Eleanor and Franklin.
Folks are listening to the Dom Salvia Show. That is Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. We're going to come back, take your calls, and we'll talk about whatever topics you have. We'll take whatever comments you may want to give. But it's the last segment of the day, so you also have to offer something good. 855-752-4842. Come back with us.
Every time I look around, it's in my face. Ooh, baby, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around, every time I look around, every time I look around, it's in my face.
I liked that suggestion, Harvey. Dom wasn't as sold on it, but I liked it a lot.
What was the suggestion?
For how bizarre?
He didn't like it?
Not so much.
Shame on him. Shame on him.
I know.
By the way, Lorna just asked me, am I allowed to shout up to you, Civilian Conservation Corps, when I was floundering for the... I said, yes, you should have done that. I've got, these, you wouldn't have heard it because I've got these ear things in and stuff, but at least I hope you wouldn't. But the point, it didn't matter. Let people hear it. That was funny. Because she's been, fortunately, she's taken to listening to my day on the show. So,
well, good. All righty, just over a minute. We've got a fairly full board. We've got 4 callers waiting. Just to let you know.
Good. I love call-ins. I love them.
And 2 of them specifically have questions for you, Harvey.
Oh, good. Good. Call on them first so we don't lose them.
$30 seconds.
Okay.
Done.
At first we were afraid, we were petrified, kept thinking we could never live without you by our side. And we spent so many nights thinking how you did us wrong. Now we've banded all together. Your tariff made us strong, and so you know you're not so great. There's not a snowball's chance in hell we'll be your 51st state.
Welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842. 4842-855-75 Civic. Just PS working the board. Thank you for that. I was not expecting that. Lovely.
Thank you, Harvey.
Appreciate it, Harvey. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. And folks, we're providing this fine show so you can remunerate us by calling us at 855-752-4842. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. It's always been remunerate, but anyway, I digress. Let's get to it. Brian from Milwaukee, you are up. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to start with something good.
Thank you.
I'm actually up to now walking 2 miles a day. You're welcome, Jeff. I'm up to walking 2 miles a day now. About 6 months ago, it was really hard for me because of my health to just like take out the trash and like do basic, household chores.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Congratulations.
And my doctor thank you. Doctor did a whole bunch of tests and said, hey, you need to start walking more.
There you go.
I started walking
Excellent.
about a mile a day, and now I'm up to 2.
Well
my
done.
question
That's
for Harvey
fantastic.
is thank you. I post a lot on Facebook about the political issues going on, and a lot of the mega supporters, of course, laugh, joke, think this is all just such a big joke, and they try to twist everything every way, shape, form. How would be the best, other than just ignoring them, which I've been pretty much doing, how would be the best way to talk to someone like that? Because, I mean, at times I do want to answer their questions honestly to educate someone when they ask a really stupid question. But then there's other times where it's like, I might as well just be talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, right. Pick and choose your battles. Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Well, if you give me an example of a question, I could probably give you an answer. But in the meantime, I would just come back with them and say, did your family and any of your members of your family serve in the Second World War? And vote for not only FDR, but vote for things like Social Security, things like right to organize unions. I mean, things like that. Just ask them. Just say, by the way, do that.
Yeah, and what happened to you?
And what happened to you? Right.
752-4842.
And then block them. I don't know Facebook, but if you can block them, just go ahead and block them.
You can't block them all, Harvey. You could try. I guess you can just disengage entirely, but you got to consider the source, I guess. Susan from McFarland, you are next. Welcome. What do you got for us?
Oh, hi. Well, my something good is, I take my dog out on these nice sunny days and we go for long walks, and that really helps rejuvenate me.
Yeah.
And get me back grounded. But the question I really had was for Harvey. I wanted to know, Harvey, my husband was a lifetime member of the VFW in Madison, and, a lot of the guys that are there are pretty staunch supporters of the person that inhabits the White House right now. So how can you get, what I'd like to do is kind of have a listening session with them to figure out how they can change their paradigm.
Well, first you might want to start by asking them, how do they feel about the cuts to the Veterans Administration? I mean,
right.
that's the first thing. And if they say they don't care, then you can only imagine that they have very high priced and can afford very high priced healthcare on their own, which I find hard to believe. But that would be the vehicle I would use. That's the vehicle that my veteran comrades down in Sarasota, Florida are using.
Right on. Thank you for that, Harvey. Thank you, Susan, 855-752-4842. Our buddy Tom from L.A., you are next. Welcome, Tom. What do you got?
Well, I have all good things to say today.
All right.
One, I am a proud Franklin Delano Roosevelt Democrat.
Yes.
Second, for that gentleman that called in, you might want to ask, can we agree at least on the fact that we need to get all money out of politics and all lobbyists out of politics? That might be a good question that you could both agree upon. Also, I am down to 13.9% body fat since my December 1st working out. Yep. And walking about 10 miles a day, as well as going to the gym. So I feel very, very good about that. Also, the goal of the Republican Party has been to really scrap the New Deal ever since it came about.
Yes.
And we just really need to protect the New Deal. And I also, good news is indivisible.org. If people want to get involved doing from the smallest little thing to the biggest thing, whatever it is that your skill requires, or what you like to do, indivisible.org. They're having these empty chair Congress town hall meetings when the congressperson doesn't show up. And they're pretty entertaining, actually. And they're actually showing people like Derek Van Rude doesn't show up for any of his town hall meetings.
Indivisible. Thank you, Tom. Always appreciate it. Well done, man. 13.5% body fat, man.
That's nuts.
I got to go do some cardio.
No more cookies for you.
Harvey, too late. I've only got a couple boxes left. I'm working my way through them. Harvey, the point, is it always, the man against the money? And then sometimes people feel like they got it too good. We only got 60 seconds, but it seems like a recurring theme in humanity.
Well, it's clearly been a great theme in American history, going all the way back to the very beginnings of the nation. In every generation, there have been working people and middle class people who have risen up to demand that the United States live up to the promise of the Declaration: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as rights.
I demand it. Harvey Kaye, thank you so much. Going to miss you for the next couple weeks, but I promise when you get back, we will hang out in Appleton, my old stomping grounds. Thank you so much for what you do. Harvey Kaye, Professor Emeritus of Democracy at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Just PS on the board, on the horn, on the cuts, spinning the tunes. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it as well. And all our fair audience, thanks for tuning in. Stick around. Pete Schwaba, the Nightlight, is coming up next. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
We have all we really need. We can live without your greed. We